Okay, my camera cut off, so we're just going to start where we left off with a part two. Now, here's something people need to understand. We are only drawing inspiration from one of two sources, our Father Yahuwah in heaven or Satan. And Satan, Hebrew for adversary, uses predictive programming to insert ideas in our head as to what he has in store for us. It's a form of mockery because he hates mankind and because he knows his coming fate. So think of it this way. Any horror flick you've ever seen or anything that you've ever seen on television that is not from our Father in heaven, then you know it is a channeled idea from another source. So we have this Star Wars Dark Lord put on the side of this church. And this Dark Lord arrived on a Death Star. Now, I've shown in the last couple of videos, this is something I saw coming back from Israel when I entered into the KCI Airport Terminal C. At the far, I guess when you're first coming into the terminal, it would be the first door on your right. You could get out, go in, and you can see this for yourself if you're curious and you're local. But I knew what I was looking at when I saw this, and this is this object coming through space. This is Revelation 12:3. So we've got the Death Star right here. And one of these planets I have mentioned in my prior videos, Helion, the red Kachina of the blue and red Hopi Indian legend, appears to have a massive crater impact on its one side. Now, the man that runs this UFO channel pulls from NASA satellite feeds from time to time, and other people do too. There's always somebody who's got an eyeball on NASA at this point. There's a lot of people that know there's something wrong with this organization. So they've got a bullseye on all their feeds. And since this is federal monies, they are required to keep this stuff up for us. So they oftentimes will pull this stuff down, but you can see what was pulled up. This is something very odd. Now, this guy, like I said, he's agnostic. That pic above was posted on a UFO site that checks out NASA satellite relays. This stuff gets scrubbed quickly, but people have often caught objects before this happens, which is interesting because the FAA weather cams have been analyzed by many as well. There was a Christian woman running a website for many months that was reporting daily on what she was seeing on the Alaska FAA weather cams. She always closed with remarks to get people to accept Christ. Now, she was seeing these large orbs that were crossing the sky, and she was pointing out stuff. I mean, even at the time I was watching this, I'm like, is this for real? She was seeing lines going across the sky and talking about stabilization jets, and I'm like, what? But I found other stuff online that people have videotaped in other countries. So I'm like, and they had no clue what they were even seeing. She had no clue of those videos. She never mentioned them in hers. So I am really good at connecting dots, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe all this is real. But she's pointing out these orbs, and the first thing I saw when I saw this, I thought, oh, those are lens flares, or there's this, looks like moisture on the lens. But what she was pointing out was, as she was showing these through 10-minute time lapses, is that these bands were rotating, and they were staying consistent on these objects. And so I realized that, yeah, that this was true. I initially thought these were lens flares, but as I noted, that she did, the rotating band stayed consistent. These were huge rotating spheres in the sky. Others have obviously seen this as well. The Freemasons think their God has arrived. So we see what we see here. Now, I found this in a completely unrelated place on the net, deviantart.com, Akhenaten and Nefertiti. So obviously there's people here that see something completely different when they see this. And as I look at this and look at this, I'm like, okay, well, it's pretty obvious that we're looking at really the same exact thing. She's Christian. These are the opposing. I've covered this again and again. Almost every one of my videos is this versus this. And it appears we have a match to this old Hubble photograph before the Hubble and other observation satellites went offline and were no longer relaying signals. This is a picture from, oh gosh, I think this was years back. This is the actual, I believe, this is the same object we were seeing. But again and again, they're taking all these observation satellites down. I don't think there's anyone that right now you can get on and you can look into the sky anymore. So they're preventing people. The Hubble telescope was not built at all for its stated purpose. It was built for the same reason the Lucifer telescope was built for the Catholic Church, to observe what was coming in. One of the things that Christian woman saw on the FAA weather cams that she gave the direct link to, by the way, which I went and checked out for myself because I did, was this object. Now, she saw this. I never saw, I never went on to actually view the rotation of this thing. I did see she had pulled up a couple of different views, and you could see that this thing it's in motion like all the rest of them are. And you can see this is just a different frame view, but it was rotating as well. Now, she's Christian. This guy is not. I don't think he's never mentioned going on any of these weather cam sites, and I don't think she's ever looked at probably any of his satellite sites. So what do we got going on here? I think we have that. And that's what all this is about. Darth Vader grotesque. This isn't the only odd grotesque on that Freemason church either. 8 Christian cathedrals with the geekiest gargoyles, man in gas mask. Okay, you can see what you see here. Very strange, and a machine gun at that too on him. This guy calls this grotesque geeky. I see it differently. Which is odd because this seems to be a familiar motif with Freemasonic builds like the Denver airport. Now they do the same creepy stuff again and again. As you can see what is displayed here, there's murals throughout this entire airport. From what I hear, they are actually now starting to remove all of them. I think they're just pulling them down and putting them somewhere else for posterity. But as you can see, look at this stuff. People are looking at this as they come to this airport. This airport is complete with a horse called Lucifer at the airport's entrance. Okay, look at it. They got the lights shining red in its eyes. I mean, this thing is utterly demonic. A horse that nearly perfectly matches the Illuminati acolyte Katy Perry's Dark Horse from her Dark Horse album. Now, here she is. Now, what do we got going on there? This was her, I believe this was in 2015 where she was displaying it. I think this is for the Grammys. And as you can see, we've got this nearly the same thing going on here. Chase these symbols. There she is sitting having an interview. All these things connect. An airport complete with a Freemason dedication plaque and its reference to the airport being paid for by the New World Airport Commission. Here we go. March 19th, 1994. And you can see right here what it says. New World Airport Commission. A capsule. There's a time capsule beneath this thing. The New World Airport Commission never existed. Look it up. This doesn't exist. Nobody really knows where this money came from for this airport. This airport was, I think, billions of dollars. I think it was maybe $2 billion over budget. Now that's just stated. There's a lot of knowledge that there are tunnels underneath this thing. This is quite an extensive deal. These people have actually, I think there were 3 or 4 buildings that were, or huge basement areas that were built. And then they said that they built them incorrectly. So they ended up burying them, which is not what you would typically do. You would just tear them out and you'd rebuild it properly. But no, we'll make them go away and then we'll do something different. No, they're still there and they were exactly what they wanted them to be. So anyway, enough people are figuring out what this is about that the Masons have now gone into something called misdirection. Make light of what is staring everyone right in their face. People know there's something disturbing about this airport. So I'm going to have to blow this up so you can kind of get an idea of what they're doing here. Are we creating the world's greatest airport or preparing for the end of the world? Okay, you got that creepy horse there. Whoops. And now this one is really humorous. You can see what they've got going on here. What are we doing? Adding amazing new restaurants and bars, building an Illuminati headquarters, remodeling the lizard people's lair. It's so ridiculous. And then here, coming soon, a secret portal to the underworld, streamlined security, or C, another misunderstood mural. I mean, really? What's misunderstood? Who wants to go on a plane after viewing what you're seeing on the walls here? Look at this. I mean, what is this? This is what you walk through and you look at. I mean, it's disaster, mayhem, bloodshed. Look at, you got a dead kid in a mother's arms here weeping, and you're walking past this to get on your flight. And it's so misunderstood. People just are totally not taking this mural in the correct fashion in which it was displayed. Yeah, and you got a dead girl laying here in a casket. All right, let's leave this disturbing Freemason airport and its artwork that looks like something that should belong on that church back east. Okay, I noted this. Nice tail, by the way, very serpent-like. Look at that. Bye, Denver Airport. Okay, so we're backing away. Back to you. Now, I wanted to round this off and show you something on the inside. I didn't go too far into it. I probably could have spent a year and a day and do another video on it, but I'm not going to. I just looked at this. I saw this, and I know what this is too. I can go out in Kansas City here to our World War I memorial, which is really lovely from its face, but it also, again, has two sphinxes facing each other. This symbol is on a bronze door there. So again, I know what the origin of this symbol is. Does anybody else? If you're a churchgoer, do you know the origin of all the symbols within your church? Do they originate within the Catholic Church? This symbol with a sundial, sun rays. Do you know what that means? I do. And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise that his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. Sorry about that, guys. This doesn't always turn out the way I want it. Matthew chapter 18, verse 20. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I with them. Acts 17, verse 24. The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth and does not live in temples built by human hands. The Holy Spirit within each of us makes us the temple. Pope Francis states the world government must rule the U.S. for its own good. And he just stated that last year. This guy's unbelievable. So again, we've got this 9/5 of 2018. Looks awfully lot like this, doesn't it, guys? We've got something moving into a position that's prophesied by another faith. They know what it is. Now let's take a look at this Star of Islam. Okay, here's a very old coin. Not so far off from Rome. Roman Catholicism, Vatican City. Okay, we've got the Roman Empire. We've got a coin from that era. Now let's look closer at this Roman coin. Okay, as you see, we've got a sun ray. We've got the crescent facing down. Now, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bursts radiating from the center. What do we got going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 radiating from the center. Do you know what lies at the center of this court? It's the 9th gate. Believe it or not, this is the Pope's chair. They'll probably explain that this is because St. Peter, they'll call him a saint, was crucified upside down. That's their rationale. If a person looks into it, the truth is coming out everywhere now. Peter was not crucified on the site where the Vatican is. The only individual in the Bible that Yeshua ever referred to as Satan was Peter. And Satan means adversary. When Peter said something out of love for Jesus, he was running contrary to what Jesus' intention was. And Jesus rebuked him and called him Satan because he was an adversary to what Yeshua, was trying to do. So that's where the word comes from in its purest sense. But that's why this is an inverted cross. That's their rationale. It's not. The 9th gate. The only thing more terrifying than searching for the devil is finding him. By the way, Johnny Depp, you saw in that, and Marilyn Manson are best friends and have matching tattoos. Marilyn Manson unveils gory Say 10 video starring Johnny Depp. These guys are into some sick stuff. These people cut each other. It's called eating the pain. Here's a photo of him coming down off of an airplane. Blood-soaked bandage right here. You can see somebody has seeing this picture right here. I think he was on stage and this was a microphone, but anyway, you can see that there's a cut right in the middle of his finger right there. They engage in some horrible stuff. Do you know the hour? Do you have on the armor? Helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belt of truth, sword of the Spirit, shield of faith, feet of peace. Read me. God bless everyone.